Welcome back to the Arizona Daily Mix. We are talking about a problem that I think a lot of people have, but they only associate it, Dr. Mile, with athletes, and that is the see, I was about to say it.
Rotator cuff.
Rotator cuff.
Yeah, rotator.
That's some people, I say rotator cuff, and you hear that differently, but rotator cuff.
Yes.
So let's explain what the rotator cuff is.
Well, the rotator cuff is actually four muscles that sits below your deltoid, which is the outside covering of your shoulder. And it's complicated, but in this basic role is to help you lift your shoulder from the side and also as you get higher above your shoulder. It's got a very important role in helping you take things off the top shelf and for athletes to be able to throw things very hard and far.
And that's where we see with the athletes, they tear them from pretty much short time of constantly using their arm or being hit and played. But when it comes to regular people, you're saying over time, you can really damage your rotator cuff.
Well, the rotator cuff sort of sits, especially when we talk about the rotator cuff, the one specific muscle that we talk about is the supraspinatus, and it actually sits between your humeral head and the acromion, which is the bony part of your shoulder. And if you do this throughout your life, hundreds of thousands of times, eventually the tendon in between there will have a tear of attrition, meaning chronically torn coming off the bone, as opposed to a violent tear that, you know, something like a Peyton Manning would do if he was throwing a ball really far.
And you say it also happens with people falling.
Yes.
They can where they grab out. Is that what happens when they go to grab something? Or?
It could just happen just by falling on the side. But sometimes when they fall, like say you fell, but you saw like something to hold, you might grab it, and that might pull it off. So that's more of a violent tear.
Okay, so how do you prevent something like this happening to a regular person?
Well, I think you prevent it just by doing the same things you would do to prevent all injuries. Continuing stretching, especially if you're exercise. If you're a weekend warrior, just going to the gym a few times a week, stretching before exercise and even throughout the morning on a regular day is very important. Stretching all the ligaments, tendons, because a tight tendon, which is one that doesn't feel a lot of stretch, is more prone to injury. That's why a stretching regimen is important, not only for athletes, weekend warriors, and professional athletes, but also people just in general.
So when you say stretching, I mean, I'm trying to think, how do I stretch a rotator?
The same exercises that you learned in high school are much more important as you get older. You stretch across your body. You can take a towel and you can pull your arm up like this. You can put your arm against a wall and stretch it out. Because they all stretch, because it also stretches the deltoids and the rotator cuffs, you know, but you're really getting a deep stretch in every direction. It's difficult, but people should try to do that.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about what you do to help people repair these, because that's one thing that repairing these, it takes a little time, a little process, right?
Well, the thing is there's different types of tears. You could come in with a partial tear, and sometimes just like, you know, we talked about carpal tunnel, it's like it's a wastebasket catch-all phrase. People with shoulder problems, their primary care might say, it's a rotator cuff problem, and they send it to me. And they could be partial tears to full tears to just sort of tendinitis. And the vast majority of partial tears and even some full thickness tears don't need surgery. We'll prescribe physical therapy, do an injection. But for those people who have real loss of motion, surgery is a very good option. And nowadays we can do that with arthroscopic techniques, with minimally pinhole techniques. So.
And as we get to wrap, I should ask this before we get to that. So if someone's sitting at home right now, how would they know if they have a rotator cuff?
Well, one of the main signs would be loss of motion, or especially pain reaching things on top shelves and stuff like that, or even achiness. Even an achiness around the shoulder when they wake up in one night could be a rotator cuff problem. Like I said, it's even though it's a catch-all phrase, it is kind of true, but not everyone who needs it needs a drastic intervention like surgery.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, where can people find more information?
They can go to my website at arizonabone.com. We have links to a lot of information, and if it seems like you need more information, please call us, and we'd love to help you evaluate your shoulder problems.
Oh, perfect. Doctor, thanks for coming in and joining us again.
Thank you very much.
All right, we got information on aztv.com also for more information. Thank you.